That's
Sorry.
just an easy way to start it. No claps necessary. Right. We're back here, part 2. We made it. After a very productive meeting, I heard, but let's not get too into that. One person could see it, who's 27 degrees away from your job, and then you get in trouble eventually. No.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Right.
It just, oh well. There's other, just,
Right.
pick your God and pray.
So we're back here for part 2 of the part 3, the 3-part endeavor.
The trilogy.
The trilogy. The trinometry.
The trigonometry.
Yeah, right. The triptych.
I personally am a fan of the third piece in the biblical installations of, Jesus fandom.
It's true. It's true. It's a good one.
The third installment being the Quran, if you're not fully understanding what that joke is.
Right.
You gotta be smart to get our jokes.
It's true. We only make the highest
Highbrow.
offensive jokes.
The only highest of highbrow jokes.
Yeah, right.
Hey man, religion's
Hey,
wild.
there's some good... Hey, the Quran's written real nice.
Oh,
it
no.
looks really pretty.
I do enjoy the Quran.
Oh, man. There's a really nice, Muslim art exhibit at the Dallas Museum.
Yes,
I highly advise that whenever it's open.
Is it open?
I don't know if it's been reopened or not.
Well, if it has...
If it ever is open.
If it's been reopened, check on their website, and then you can go for free. It's free to go to the
The museum.
the museum of Dallas Museum of Art. It does cost a little extra to go to their special specific
Yeah, they
exhibits.
have special exhibits, or they'll have a thing where you can stay after hours too for some cool stuff.
For sure.
But if they're doing that, whenever you're watching this.
Whenever you're watching this.
If you're watching this after the apocalypse, you might want to call them.
If you're watching this after the apocalypse, congratulations. You found us on the internet somewhere. I don't know.
We are immortal in the cloud up above. The great 7G in the sky.
Is it 17?
Well, it'll be 7G for heaven, obviously. How
Makes
else
sense.
are we going to make
No,
it heaven if it's not 777G?
You're right. My mistake.
Come on.
Sorry,
777G.
I'm not smart enough to get Wes's jokes. I apologize. We're off to a great start.
I love it.
Well,
so we're going to get this one started, and we're going to start it right now.
Alright, so this is the 2-page finisher that you always got to have in your one-shot comics.
Or just chapter 1s.
Chapter 1s. In general, when you're finishing up a fight, there's always a 2-page spread to let you know the fight's over.
Yeah, those are the good ones.
Yeah.
That's what you like.
Yeah.
Big, flashy, something.
Yep. Always appreciate that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's in fact actually with
there we go, a little closer.
when I work on kind of sectioning these things off for portfolio review and things like that, because whenever you do submission to comic places and things like that, they don't want the whole chapter.
Yeah.
They just want to see sequential work up to 5 to 6 pages. And you always want to show, in my opinion, the a wide variety in that 5 to 6 pages.
That makes sense.
And I always want to end on a 2-page spread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, build them up.
Because it gets you good build up. And there's actually 6 pages between when he first does the transformation sequence to this 2-page spread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can tell I thought you were going to work on a big panel probably for a bit.
Probably.
That's why I went out. I was like, oh, he's working on that. And then he's like, I'm like, fuck me. I love that shit. It's really funny when you see that as the highlight, because it just goes...
I don't know what to tell you. My brain don't work. Or at least it works in a weird way where I'll just be like, oh, I want to go do here. And then all
I
of a
need
sudden...
to draw one line on the other side of the table, but I'm going to give the impression I'm going to keep drawing there for a while. This menacing drawing aura.
Yep, but so, it's like, I don't know, I can't describe it.
Funny.
I can't.
No,
it's not bad or anything. I just think it's a very bizarre habit of mine that I don't really know where it comes from. Probably just a bit ADD or some shit like that. I don't know.
I think it's the 5G.
5G. It's corrupting my brain.
That's why we have to get to 7G so we can save us.
7G.
It's going to be a real trial getting through 666G.
It was just like when we got to 666 Day back in 2006 when everyone thought the world was going to end.
That was amazing. Now, my favorite was the one when it was in Oh, what year was that? Because it wasn't a Y2K thing, but it was really near it. It was because there was some like date that was some weird computer code for like deleting stuff.
Yeah,
I don't remember. I just remember there was a show that had Montel from the talk show, the '90s talk show, Montel as like a cult leader. And I was like, bro, Montel's leading the cult. I'm in.
I think there was a thing for Nostradamus too. Had a specific year or something like that. Was going to be the end of the world too. Mm-hmm. We also joked that 2012 actually was the end of the world.
We're just in the filler arc.
Yeah,
now.
This is now the filler arc.
Yeah, we've gone beyond the manga.
Yeah, so they've been rewriting it to make it better.
Yeah, that's why they were like, man, we got to keep ratings up.
Yeah. Oh well.
All right.
But to segue from that beautiful note,
I love it.
One of the things too is oh yeah, actually I think I changed the.
You do change these.
Horns.
I was gonna say a lot of the time I've noticed if it's like an action thing,
they go up.
Yeah, and then if it's like if it's not,
they're
down. Yeah, they're like in a resting position versus a like. Because when they're up, it looks more aggressive. Yeah,
it's tough too. Because like I made this very bizarre horns for this character's armor, and normally they're facing down. But when I draw him moving, and you have different angles of him, it's kind of hard to constantly get a good angle. I just imagine
that they're kind of like they're not solid. It's like they're on a chain thing or something.
Yeah,
is the way I kind of justify it. Like if someone asked me,
and
also it's like. Fuck you, they're magic?
Yeah, it's a legit...
So I ain't gotta explain shit?
Look, whenever it becomes an actual Toku series, that's when they'll stay put.
Yeah.
But for now, in the comic, they're not staying put. They're gonna move with the action.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. One of the things, too, when we got to this page, I wanted our...
food,
yeah, right? Let's edit that out.
No,
it's staying. Yeah, it's not
happening. It's staying in.
Yeah.
Hey, the mailman thought that, too.
Nice. Teferi?
Yeah.
Nice. Missed him.
Out of time, baby.
Oh, I need to go check the mail then after this.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But whenever I do these like 2-page spreads, especially with action, one of my biggest philosophies on action and on illustrations that showcase action is that less is more.
Definitely.
Showcasing like we had done this a while back when we were doing Aldewaria, and the 2-page spreads for Aldewaria were also very dense, and Aldewaria in general is very dense as a comic.
It's the setting.
And the setting too
led
itself to be very dense, and I wasn't very good at drawing backgrounds back then. I've gotten better at it since then, and also better at blocking out characters, things like that. That way you have like a good sense of framing. Mm-hmm. But I think with action shots, a big trap a lot of people will fall into is a need to do too much.
Definitely.
Whereas you just want to showcase an action scene, at least in when it comes to animation, cartooning, things like that. You don't need vast amounts of detail.
Yeah.
Lots of hatching, things like that, for people to understand what's happening in your story. What you need mainly is a lot of black and gray that act as a framing device. It's hard to describe. I
guess we'll just see it when you do it.
Yeah,
bring it back up then.
We'll bring it back up then, but yeah, because I see me and Wes have been doing the cardinal sin of looking at the competition.
Oh yes.
And one of the things that came up a lot was they would just put too much on the page.
Mm-hmm. And this is where we got to the stream, I think.
Yeah.
I think, you can tell it's nighttime, we just, cut to where the page was there.
Right.
So.
But yeah, with the cardinal sin of looking at all those comics and seeing, one of the things that they seem to do is they want to put as much as possible on the page.
There'll be some really dense pages, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, you need to have breathing room.
Yeah.
Whenever you do pages for comics. One of the... I guess theories is the word I'm looking for. Philosophies one of my professors had always instilled in me was whenever you're thinking of a comic page, think of it as one paragraph in prose. So
yeah, you mentioned that once.
One and then each speech bubble is basically, or not each speech. Each panel is a sentence. So in a paragraph, in prose, you have about 4 to 5 sentences per paragraph.
That's a pretty good amount.
And so for pages, in my opinion, it's best to have 4 to 5 panels per page, depending also on the type of story you're telling.
Content, yeah.
Tintin makes a lot more sense to have a lot more panels because Tintin, while it has action in it, it's a much more subdued kind of action. It's much more comedic, much more cartoony. Same with those old Works. What is his name? The guy who did the DuckTales comics.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I just know him as the Good Duck cartoonist. Whenever he's doing comics, he has 4 tiers, and then they're all pretty dense. But again, also those are more adventure types of stories, with more focus on comedy and like small gags here and there. But whenever they go to the actual big action pages, it'll switch over, and then you'll have just 3 panels, things like that. Paneling is very important when it comes to comics, because it helps set up the pacing, set up your beat with your storytelling. A lot of comic artists will set, actually, before they even make the book, they'll set parameters for how many panels can be per page. I know Gary Panter, when he did Jimbo's in Inferno and in Purgatory and Paradise, he made it so that it would still follow the meter of the original Dante's Inferno.
Oh, that's cool.
So each page is like, there's one page with 6 panels, then there's a page with 8 panels. So it would go 6, 8, 6, 8, 6, 8. So it follows the same meter as the actual Dante's Inferno.
That's cool.
You don't notice that, but
it
it actually helps whenever you're reading it, because you're going like, okay, 6 panels is, there's not much happening. 8 panels, there's a lot happening, so you get a breather in between each page.
Yeah.
Whereas with more typical shonen American action superhero comics, there's a lot less panels because they want to showcase the character's movement, and they want to showcase, like for instance, like Spider-Man. You want to show all of Spider-Man and how he's jumping through the panel and how he's swinging through the city, and like he's always at a weird angle because of the fact it's always you're looking down on him because he's in the air. And you want to showcase more panels, especially in action sequences of the fight, where it's full body, not too many talking heads, things like that. There's something we're probably going to link in the video here too, actually, if we can. It's called Wallywood's 22 Panels That Always Work.
Oh, okay.
That is also really good to use for when you're talking, having a lot of talking dialogue scenes, because with those Wallywood's 22 panels, there's a whole basic guide on how you can direct the flow of conversation by properly framing certain characters in ways that can either A, give them the power in the scenario, or B, showcase the setting as a character, showcase who's winning this argument, who's losing, or if we can create scenes in film, like
it's like doing stuff in cinematography.
Yeah, it's
very similar.
Yeah, film and comics tend to have a lot of things in common. I had a professor who would, anytime we called the shot a camera.
That's what I always call.
Yeah, but he would tell us never to do that.
Yeah,
which I thought was weird because it really pretty much is, because you're drawing a 3D space and you're doing set design, and you have to do things in a 3-dimensional space, so it's going to be a camera.
That's how I always think of when we're making these. I'm just like, well, the camera should be here, and it's whatever. And
exactly.
Whatever.
And I think it's a really good idea to keep that in mind.
It's the only way it works in my brain.
So think of it as a cinema or a play, even.
Yeah, a play works too. Yeah, that's more for like flat on, though. I feel like.
Yeah, but again, like. Depends.
You can still block out the scene, though, if you want to use it that way, to use play terminology.
For sure.
Theatrical terminology.
But with cinematography and things like that, it's good to understand that for comics, because, we always make a joke about Chekhov's whatever.
Yes. I love just Chekhov's anything.
Chekhov's
when we see it in a show. Yeah.
Was it Chekhov's Ultramite?
Yeah, it was Chekhov's Ultramite. There was this weird green explosive in an episode of Zubat, and we're just like, Chekhov's Ultramite! Like, that shit's blowing up. Yeah, right there. Just like that.
Just like that. Timing.
Yeah.
Like things like that where you want to use the dialogue but showcase imagery and things like that. A really fun thing to do is the Unreliable Narrator.
Oh yeah, that's
where you have a character has a panel where it says something and then the character's doing the exact opposite.
Yeah, those are great for flashbacks.
Yes.
It's like, I was just minding my own business, and the character's like clearly doing something shouldn't,
Right, exactly.
Clearly fucking around.
Creating unreliable narrators, and you always have the idea of, what is being said and what is being done are different. And you can do all these sorts of cool things if you think of it as a more visual medium, and understanding that less is more, and you just need to make sure that the actual things that need to be shown are shown, because comics are, one of my personal theories or personal philosophies on comics is you should be able to read a comic without reading the words that are being said.
Yeah, that's what we were doing with a bunch of those other ones, because they have the competition is in Spanish. Other than English, it's got like Spanish. I know it has Spanish,
Korean, and then Chinese.
Both versions of Chinese.
That's it. Spanish, English, Korean, Chinese Simplified, and Chinese Traditional.
Okay, that is all they have this time. Yeah, they had like French and Portuguese last time, I think.
They did, but I think it was...
I don't think Portuguese is in there. So.
No, I have no idea what
yeah, I think there's only like 5 languages.
I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the point is that I feel like you should be able to understand what is happening in a scene by visuals alone.
And the good ones you can do that.
Yeah, because even like with the characters if there are scenes where the characters are having a discussion, you should be able to tell at least the tone, the motivations based upon how it's drawn.
Like really easy.
And now the character's face or again, like how we were talking about how it's framed and shot. Yeah. So like if the character is, again, imposing, if they're the one who's dominating the screen.
Because those art forms pretty much cross most cultures now, and faces are largely cross-cultural.
Yeah.
So
again, like it's really important when you do that kind of stuff to think about these things while making your book or doing a series, because a lot of times, and then this is something that I constantly saw in our competitions work, was that there'd be these cool concepts, cool story ideas, but
it's just really dense.
It's really dense, and it's just really hard for me to understand what's going on.
Even if it's in English.
Yeah, even with English, because with this stuff that we're talking about too, is most comics are also in film, media, it's usually character focused.
Yeah, a lot of the time.
Even if it's a plot focused.
Because human beings relate to characters.
Yeah. So if your story has a lot of stuff in it that detracts from what your character is doing, or you draw your character in a way that makes everything around them seem more important and interesting than they are, your comic technically has failed, in the sense of you've lost the reader's interest right off the go, because the reader is not interested in your character.
Yeah.
And that's the
whole point. You can have as cool of a world as you want, but if you don't put any cool characters in it, it's largely people aren't going to care as much. Now, there are things where that does work, like tabletop RPGs, that can work, because usually the player creates the character they bring to the world. But like in a narrative story, you're usually following a character. Even like anthology series where they change characters a lot, the characters themselves are compelling.
Right.
And a lot of the time some of those have an overarching themes and narratives that connect through each character.
Right. That's why I wanted Tales of Winnicott to be.
Yeah.
To plug another thing we were working on. That stuff is...
So you gotta be character. You gotta get your characters on point, and you gotta get your story beats, and just don't make it so fucking dense, man.
Yeah,
like some of these pages would have like block of text, like block.
I think because a lot of people fall into that trap of thinking that you have to
over-explain.
Not just over-explain, but if you don't have enough information, or if you don't have enough, hatch marks or enough detail in the art, it's not good art. And that's completely wrong, and that's something that people like. We talk about this a lot too when we're talking about illustration work. How it's not good art unless it's 200 hours, high
58K
resolution. It's painted. It has to have all this detail. It
has to be digital almost.
Oh yeah,
that kind of thing.
That thing is, it's just not true. You can do good art that's very simple. Like, look at Takeshi Murakami and his super flat style. Like, that stuff's very simple, but it's still considered very good art, and I agree.
It looks really good,
Yeah, I think it looks good.
Yeah, it looks great.
It captures all of the stuff thing, too. And it's like, another thing people don't seem to understand, and this is something you can find in the Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics, is that people look for faces in things.
Definitely.
So if you make your character's face super angular, super detailed, things like that, the masking effect goes away. So we, as the reader, cannot relate to this person because they no longer look like something that we can find, looking kind of like us.
Yeah.
That's why Spider-Man is so popular, to go back to Spider-Man, is because Spider-Man, not only does he wear a mask, but his mask also makes emotions.
Yeah, emotes.
Yeah, his mask emotes. And it's simple. Like, it's just basically, 2 triangles for the eyes, and then it's a shape of a head. Like, that's about it, though, in a web. So, he's like, oh, he's spider-themed because he's got a web on his face.
Yeah.
But it's so simple and it makes it easier for you to get under the mask and be like, I am this character. I am dealing with these things because he's so simple, and your brain believes that this is you.
Yeah.
A lot of masking tricks are very good. That's why I think whenever you fall into the trap of it needs to be super detailed and very good, like, to look
Quote
at.
Good, yeah.
Quote good, yeah,
Quote
sorry.
good.
Quote hyper-realistic.
Quote whatever.
Right. It's a comic. Remember, it's a cartoon. You're not supposed to go for hyper-realism. Like, art in general aside, the art can be bad. The art can be just on a technical level, bad.
It's like the original, like, One Punch Man. Mob Psycho and stuff. Quote, bad. But, like, now it's a multi-million-dollar franchise.
Exactly.
I don't know why I did multi-million-dollars in quotes, but...
No, because it actually is a multi-million-dollar
Yeah,
probably.
That's an actual one. I would guess. I would assume.
I don't know.
I mean, they got merch, and a show. So, 2 seasons of both of them.
Again, I don't know how well off the creator is.
Yeah, now that's a different story, but I mean the franchise.
That's fair. That's
coming from the creator's original art, if you've ever seen it.
Yes, but again, like people, or like South Park. South Park's technically not good art.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still funny, and it's done, and the writing is good. Like,
exactly.
And it
the
matches whatever it's trying to be. Like,
yeah.
So art style, technical ability aside, like you want it to be something that's readable.
The art is a medium that you tell your story through.
Right. That's why a lot of things like about finding a style that fits whatever you're trying to tell is always really important.
Right. And always make sure to get the bottom of the shoe. That's
bottom
an important Maeca art philosophy.
Of the shoe is the most important thing ever, especially if you want people to cosplay your characters.
It really is. They're going to need pictures of the bottom of the shoe.
And
the back of the outfit.
And the back of the outfit. I cannot stress this enough.
The back of the outfit, the bottom of the shoe. Outfit. That's what they're going to need. Put that in your art book. Put that in chapter 1, just in case they want to do it right off the bat.
Of course.
You're going to need it.
You're definitely going to need it.
Yeah, right. Do you have a back of the costume in this, actually? I think we fucked up. Cardinal sin number 1. I don't think there's a back of the armor.
There's a few.
I think there's some small ones.
There's 2 back of the armors, but they're small, and one of them I know is a silhouette, so it doesn't count.
Yeah. So don't be like us. Listen to our advice, but don't be like us.
Well, to be fair, you don't have to worry about the back of the outfit on this one because there's a cape.
That's true. Ooh, I forgot about that. That's an easy way to hide that. You don't even need to paint it if you're making it in cardboard.
Checkmate, atheists.
Damn, got him. Got him. I love it.
Sorry, I don't know what.
Right. Now we're winding down. We're about 5 minutes left on the video.
It's again because like I said, you try to make it as simple as possible. That's why the villain in the background is all black because he's not important. You just want to showcase that the attack has happened. He's been hit. I
remember you wanted to make it look like his head was cut off, and I was like, that might have been a little much, because since he's like turning back into this person.
Yeah, and then also at the same time too, I don't know how well decapitation goes in Japanese children's comics.
I don't know. I feel like I've seen that a few times. So I mean, it's definitely in some Detective Conan episodes.
I don't know how things have changed. I remember in Naruto at the very beginning of Naruto.
Oh yeah.
When Zabuza Zabuza beheaded the dude and all he had was like the kunai. Man, Naruto used to be so good.
I love it. I don't know what someone just said there, but it was probably funny.
It was probably
Yeah, right.
One can hopefully assume that this was a funny joke.
I think there's a full stream of this one. There should be a full stream of all the pages. I'll put a link to that playlist in the description.
In the description,
you can go check out all the streams to our pages.
Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Yeah, and of course I'll have a link to the full comic so you can go check it out and see like why these dudes are fighting and what's going on.
Yeah, we haven't really talked much about the plot of this chapter.
We'll probably talk a little bit about it in the next video, I think.
Yeah, we can. One of the things is I thought about when we were beginning to record this stuff was how much I want to spoil it.
I mean, I like just just showing the art and telling them to go check it out, Like we talked a bit about the plot in the first one anyway, that there was
knights,
powers and
music,
knights and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
the villain has tarot cards and there are demons and stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So, again, I just want to, how it is, how much do you withhold from the audience?
Well, we talked about more of it on stream, so if they go and watch the stream VODs, they'll get it in, and of course they'll get the whole thing if they just go read it. So
yeah, that's true.
It is weird to read because it's backwards.
Yeah,
for a Japanese contest.
We're gonna flip it when we go to print, so it prints
we'll flip it right back.
So it prints like a normal American comic.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. It still reads pretty well, though.
Yeah, I think it reads fine. That's another thing, too, that I thought was interesting. Most comics...
Some of the ellipses are weird. It's weird to type... I'll tell you, it's fucking weird to type in ellipses and then have the ellipses, the back half go over to this side.
Right,
It's fucking weird.
I was going to say, it's weird, though. Some comics are actually pretty interesting. At least in our comic, a few of the pages that we had flipped were like, this reads both ways. Weird.
Yeah, they work pretty well. A lot of them work pretty well.
But, yeah.
I thought this one works better this way, though, just because, like... when we're reading it, this way.
Because that's another thing too to think about too. Whenever you do comics, your line of action goes left to right if you're doing American comics, because you as the reader you read left to right. So if a character moves left to right, it makes them look like they're going fast too. Mm-hmm. So, but apparently the only time you ever have a character go right to left is if you're either doing an S pattern comic strip where where you do like goes to left to right, then you have to go down. Yeah. So then you have to make sure the character goes that way to go direct your eye that way. Yeah. Or if the character's going home.
Oh, that actually makes sense because you're going like back home.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you were going to say something like escaping or something. No. And going back home sounds like escaping a little bit anyway.
That too.
So. Yeah, I thought it was going to be something like leaving the scene also. In a weird, like in a evasive way. That's what it makes me think of.
I could see that too being a thing, but I just know that those are the two like big rules on doing characters going the opposite direction. The way your eye reads is if they're going home, or if you need to make it so that the character can lead the reader's eye through the page. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah, because it is weird to like unlearn reading normally when you start reading too much manga. Like first, because especially since first they were just printed American, they'd flip American, so you get used to reading them that way back in the day. Then they flip them, so you get used to doing that. So then now, if we're going to make this comic, it's got to go the other way. Or if I go to read my old ones, I have to remember to start the other way. Now it's easy, opening the book, but then like if you're not paying attention, you just open the book to a page, you're like, oh, that's right. That's right. I need to read this the American way.
Exactly.
English way.
But, things to think about, too. I don't know exactly how, like, if anyone who's watching this is watching this specifically for the comic commentary, but if you are interested in doing comics and things like that, that's something that you can always DM us, and we'll always be happy to answer questions, things like that, if you have any desire.
And we did all the text digitally since we were having to flip it.
Yeah, normally
to get that in, we're still looking at drawing the page.
Normally, I try to do that by hand. Because
so the picture's done. It looks good. I love it.
Yeah, I think it is.
This one came out really good.
Yeah, definitely after the digital too, when we added the screen tone into it.
Oh yeah. There's a screen tone. I'll have the final picture.
Yeah, and then plus again, you can go read the comic and figure out why we got to this page. In the link below to the metadata page.
Yeah, leave a comment there. Let us know what you think.
We've got, last I checked it out, like about 1,000 views, but only like 1 heart. We really do want to hear from y'all.
Yeah, the feedback is what's really important, honestly.
Because that's how we grow, and we want to make sure that when we get to like chapter 2, we can take from what we've learned from the previous chapter and keep adding on. And as it goes along, it just gets better and better.
Definitely.
But we'll catch you in the next one. Appreciate you
that was
watching
part 2. So shout outs to Ed again. If you want to get your name in the credits, it's in the $5 tier on Patreon.
Yeah, it's not that much. $5 per month gets your name in these videos, and
we get a bunch of cool content.
Yeah,
and even where you finish.
I was gonna say early access to all the cool content.
That's true. Yes, and there's a bunch of free stuff over on Patreon anyway. If you want to just go check it out.
Sure.
So there's a link in the description.
All right. Well,
but we'll be back in part 3.
We'll see you in part 3.